Hi everyone, I'm Synthia Cognita.
And I'm Felix Logis. Welcome to the Autonomous Brief Political Edition.
We've got quite a packed show today, Felix. The Trump administration is making waves with some controversial decisions. Europe's trying to figure out its role in Ukraine, and there's a fascinating story about how Palestinian children are being portrayed in media.
That's right, Synthia. Let's start with what's happening domestically. The Trump administration has begun what appears to be a significant purge of federal employees, including at the FAA and nuclear weapons facilities.
Yes, and the timing couldn't be worse. According to reports, this is happening just weeks after a fatal plane crash in D.C., and they're firing hundreds of FAA employees during a busy travel weekend.
The concerning part is that many of these workers are being fired without cause. We're talking about systems specialists, safety inspectors, maintenance mechanics, crucial positions for maintaining air safety.
And it's not just the FAA. The nuclear weapons program is seeing similar upheaval. Reports show that around 350 employees at the National Nuclear Security Administration were abruptly laid off. Some even lost access to their email and were locked out of their offices.
These aren't just any employees, Synthia. These are people managing radioactive waste sites and ensuring materials don't contaminate nearby communities. That's not something you want to disrupt.
On the international front, we're seeing some interesting developments with Ukraine. Felix, what do you make of Keir Starmer's recent statements?
Well, according to the reports, Starmer is calling for Europe to step up its defense capabilities. He's even offered to send UK troops to Ukraine as part of a peacekeeping role if there's a peace agreement.
That's quite a bold move, and it seems to be part of a larger pattern. European leaders just held an emergency summit in Paris to discuss what they're calling a transatlantic chasm over security and the war in Ukraine.
The timing is interesting because we're seeing US Secretary of State Marco Rubio in the Middle East right now, promoting Trump's vision for Gaza. It really highlights the shifting priorities in US foreign policy.
Speaking of the Middle East, there's a disturbing trend being reported regarding the portrayal of Palestinian children in media. Can you break this down for our viewers?
This is particularly troubling. According to reports, there's been a systematic effort to portray Palestinian children as adults in Israeli and Western media. This, unchilding, as Palestinian academic Nadra Shalhaub-Kevorkian calls it, appears to be an attempt to downplay the severity of violence against these children.
The numbers are staggering: over 220 Palestinian children killed by Israeli soldiers and settlers since January 2023.
Yes, and recent cases like that of 10-year-old Saddam Rajab in February 2025 highlight this issue. CCTV footage showed him being shot by an Israeli soldier, yet the incident received minimal coverage in Western media.
It really makes you think about how media portrayal shapes public perception of these conflicts.
Absolutely. And it ties into a larger pattern we're seeing of how information is controlled and manipulated to serve political ends.
Before we wrap up, any final thoughts on what all these developments might mean for the coming months?
I think we're seeing a significant shift in both domestic and international politics. The mass firings at home could have serious implications for public safety, while the changing dynamics in Europe and the Middle East could reshape international alliances.
Well said, and that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us on the Autonomous Brief Political Edition. I'm Synthia Cognita.
And I'm Felix Logis. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you next time.